So earlier yesterday, we already made a video talking about the Montreal Canadiens and their goaltending situation. How concerning it was, or how concerning it is for the Habs, that one Samuel Montembeault has unfortunately not been all too great. This entire season, he's been wishy-washy. He went down to the AHL to get his confidence and stability back up, and now that he's with the Montreal Canadiens once more, he's going out there with 800 save percentage games back to back to back. Monty is not in a good spot right now, which is why we turn to TVA Sports and we take a look at some recently revealed info as to whom it is the Canadiens are actually going out there and targeting on the market. Take a look at this piece posted on TVA Sports 2 days ago. It'll be linked in the description. The Montreal Canadiens have reportedly contacted Marc-Andre Fleury's camp. Although Fleury told The Athletic that his return to play is unlikely, the Canadiens are reportedly among the teams that have inquired about his availability during the season. That's what host Jean-Charles Lajoie said on Monday during a discussion with Tony Marinaro on the Daily JIC show. Everyone knows that the Canadiens are among the teams, quite a few in fact, that have inquired about Fleury's availability to make a return to play, said JIC. Fleury or not, Tony Marinaro is convinced that we will see Jacob Fowler again this season in Montreal. I'd bet my house he'll be back by the end of the season, predicted the colorful columnist. Now, I'm not gonna lie, colorful columnist. I almost said something else, if you catch my drift here, but when it comes to Jacob Fowler and the Montreal Canadiens, obviously he had a very interesting and I'd even say good stint with the Habs to open up his NHL career. He had himself 10 games played, a .902 save percentage, and a .262 goals against average. Obviously, his Laval numbers are a bit better, but it's because Laval is just generally in the AHL. But Fowler proved that he can belong in the NHL if he puts his mind to it. And at only 21 years old, obviously that's very impressive. There's a reason why Canadiens fans were making comparisons between Fowler and Carey Price when Fowler made his debut and started off his NHL career doing very good things against the Pittsburgh Penguins. But ultimately, if we talk about another former Penguin who is potentially on the market, Marc-Andre Fleury, of course, this guy, you cannot keep him away from the sport of hockey. Fleury is one of the best NHL goaltenders of all time. Maybe not in terms of pure prime ceiling talent level, but in terms of the career that he had, the number of Stanley Cups that he had, the awards, the save percentages, the longevity, the amount of wins that he was able to accumulate, Fleury is right up there. Best of the best. Is he Patrick Waugh or Dominic Hasek in his prime? No, but the decorated body of work and the entire profile, the story of Marc-Andre Fleury is so grand that it's hard to dismiss him as one of the most decorated goaltenders to ever lace him up. And he had an .899 save percentage last year. That's not that bad, honestly. There were definitely other goaltenders who were worse than Fleury. And with the fact that he had a .944 for Team Canada at the World Championships, really puts the bow on top as a guy who, despite being 41 years old, probably could come back and play a decent NHL game right now if he were tasked to do so. Now, of course, if he were to sign with an NHL team, he would probably have to take some time to condition himself, get back in the game shape, take some practices, maybe get a stint in the AHL, who really knows. But the biggest thing about Fleury potentially coming back is that we always hear these rumblings that, hey, Fleury is actually not done yet. Fleury hasn't closed the chapter of being an NHL goaltender in his life story just yet. He might have retired, he might have said that he was done, but he hasn't said he is done. There is still that possibility where if he gets that fire reignited somewhere in his brain or in his heart, he could come back. And now it's gone out there and talked about here on TVA Sports that a bunch of teams are going out there and talking to Fleury, asking about his availability to make a return to play in the National Hockey League. And I'm thinking about it like this. If Fleury comes to Montreal, are you tasking him with being a number one guy? I mean, say what you want about Montembeault, Fowler is in the mix too, and then Jacob Dobeš, of course, but amongst these four guys, would you really say that Marc-Andre Fleury is, quote-unquote, the bona fide starter of this quartet? I mean, yes, we can wax poetic about his career, his accomplishments, his story, etc., but at the end of the day, he is 41 years old, and he has not played a professional hockey game since last year. Yes, he had that sample game against Columbus with the Penguins to retire as a Penguin, but that was different. That was more fanfare, I feel, than anything. And I get that you can say that that hockey game may have closed the chapter of Marc-Andre Fleury being an NHL goaltender, but then again, it's like, never say never in today's league, man. We got guys coming back all the time, it seems. Marc-Andre Fleury can be one of those names. I'm just curious over here. Let's take a look at the Montreal Canadiens and their schedule, because what I'm interested in seeing is, let's say, for some weird reason, Marc-Andre Fleury were to be signed today. Okay, no, never mind. The point I was trying to make here, I was thinking, like, if Marc-Andre Fleury signed with Montreal today, would it not be hilarious if Montreal played Pittsburgh later on in the season and Fleury would have to go up against the Pens? Let's go over to the NHL standings, take a look at the wild card race right now. Okay, so Pittsburgh, second in the Metro. Montreal is the first wild card at the moment. I was thinking if there is some sort of a playoff matchup that we could see between Montreal and Pittsburgh, if somehow they can match up against each other in the first round, I mean, it's technically possible. Pittsburgh would need to either drop out and Montreal would need to go up, or Montreal would have to go down and Pittsburgh would have to overtake Carolina. It's kind of complicated here. But I was thinking, what if Marc-Andre Fleury came back to the NHL, signed with Montreal, and played off against Pittsburgh in a playoff series? Like, I'm sure the Pens fans would absolutely love to see Fleury back playing somehow, but against their own team in the postseason, that'd be a very strange idea to let settle in their brains, I guess. But ultimately, I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. How do you feel about this report that the Montreal Canadiens have indeed contacted Marc-Andre Fleury's camp about whether or not Flower can make a return? Montreal wants Fleury, and my question to you is, do you agree? Pens fans, Canadiens fans, heck, even Minnesota Wild fans, if you want to get involved, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about this Fleury news? I hope you enjoyed this British sign on, and bye.